Hey, good morning, Pastor Dan Renfro from Dan is Your Tech Guy. Hey, today we're going to talk about this brand new Snode elliptical that I just got. I usually do my reviews immediately on the first day. This is a little hard to do on the first day because you got to use it a little while to figure out how to use it and what the best advantages are to tell you about. So that video comes later. This is a pro tip video on what to look for before you start trying to put it together. I saw a lot of videos where people said they put this together in like 30 minutes. It took me 2 hours, but I'm not a tool guy. I'm a tech guy. So that's even better for you. If you're a tool guy, you're not watching this anyway. But if you're a non-tech person, you want to do this yourself, you want to do it in 2 hours or less. I think now that I have some ideas of what I'm about to tell you, it's going to get you down to about an hour with very few headaches, because I've already had the headaches for you. So we're gonna get the box and take all the stuff off, get it opened up, make sure everything's in there. We're going to do that by taking everything out, laying it out, make sure we check it against the packing list in the front of the manual. Make sure we put the things grouped together and kind of in the way that we're going to use them, so that, like, here's all the electrical parts and those things in there. The only extra things, again, you're going to need is maybe a knife and a pair of pliers, just, to make turning those bolts a little quicker. Once you get all that things together, I want to remind you, don't take all these bolts out. Only open them one at a time as you're going to need them. That's going to be super important for you, because if you're like me, they'll get mixed up. You won't remember where they went. You don't even start using these bolts until a couple steps in, and so as you come into your book, it'll tell you which ones to open and when to open them. That way you're not losing everything. That's really, really cool. Now we're going to make sure we have everything where it's supposed to be. We've got our book lined up. We're coming to steps. There is some grease in there. You're going to have to grease several joints. Use lots of grease. You're going to have to clip the top of that little tube off there because it is sealed. To remember that, and make sure you have something around to keep your hands clean, because they're going to get really greasy even before you use that grease, because the parts that come together already are pre-greased. So you want to do that, get all your parts laid out where they need to be, and so they're kind of close together. This is what it looks like when we get started here. It comes out of the box like that. You're going to make sure you're going to take that paper off at the top. There's a little Batman wrench that's got, like I said, pretty much everything you're going to need. Well, before you put this tube on here, you want to make sure that you get the wire loose. Then you're going to come in, you're going to clip those things together, make sure it's tight. You're going to slide it down in that pole. Then the pole, the main mask, is going to slide down. It's slotted really, really well, so the holes line up really, really good. If you have to move it at all, you have to just move it a little bit. This little piece at the top of that mask has a covering. Leave the cover on. Take my word for it, there's some sharp edges, and your head's going to find it a couple times during this installation. So just wait until it's time to take that off. Then you're going to follow the directions. You're going to get up here into step 3. You're going to start putting the swinging rods on. There's this little clip in there you have to clip off that was holding the guts on. Slide it on there. Make sure you pre-grease that. It's a little tough, but it's not real tough. You just slide it on there and get it on there. This was the only tough case for me. That spot right there didn't line up as well as it should have, and that caused me a little problem. So other than that, the biggest question I have, what was right and left? Right and left is as you're writing it, it's going to be your right and left as you're looking forward. So those are some of those things. Now we kind of just go, those were things you needed to know before you got started, and keep that stuff in mind. Remember, when you're putting on the front piece, that's going to be another alignment piece that you need to have. It'd be great if you had somebody to help you. Step 4 puts on the step pieces. You have your left and right swingers on. Then you put the top of those on. This is where you want to make sure your hands are very, very dry. No grease on it, because that rubber on there doesn't like grease or petroleum products at all. Now you have the long strips on. You're going to come back in step 7, and you're going to put on the actual steps where your feet are going to go. You have to be careful that you put those on correctly. They're set up so that your feet don't slide off of them to the front, so the back's open to slide in, but the front is closed in, so to speak. They go right and left like they're supposed to be. Then you go to step 8. Step 8 tells you to put all those plastic pieces on. Don't do that yet. It's not ready to go, so that's an important piece to keep in mind. The reason why you don't want to take those off is because, or you don't want to put those on yet, is because you're leaving everything just finger tight or a little tighter than that, because you want to make sure everything is working correctly. Then you go tighten everything down. So save those plastic things for step 8 until the end, and then they all just snap on. There's a couple of screws that have to line up on the bottom ones, but very, very easy. Now we're going to put on the front piece where we put our electronics in. That's where that wire that was going down the middle now comes up and terminates here. We bring that out, get that connected correctly, and then stuff it back down there so that this will set on there correctly. Take those 4 screws. You got a screwdriver on the Batman tool, so you can use that. Just tighten it up, put it as far up as possible with your 4 screws. Remember, they go in a specific spot on the bottom. It's slotted for the screw. You put that in. And then you also will have that wire hanging off of the bars that you had put on previous to this, the step before this. On that wire is the wire for your pulse. And when you grab the 2 metal things in the middle, it takes your pulse and it displays it on the electronic board. Electronic board is then on. You're pretty much ready to go. This is where you go back and tighten everything down. Make sure that everything's tight, everything moves, that you didn't forget anything. Just grab the book, go back step by step. It'll take you a few minutes. It might take you a little longer just to check every joint. Then you tighten it as you come to the joint. Start on the left, go to the right. Once that's all done, you do step 8 then and put those plastic pieces in place, and then you're done. You're ready for the trial run. Many people ask me this question: will this count as my workout for today? And I'm going to say yes. My last pro tip of the day is keep the tools close in a bag or something connected close to your elliptical, because about once a month you're going to want to go through and just tighten those areas. Everything that's not tight is going to start to rattle and make noises that'll drive you crazy as you're ellipticaling for an hour a day. And so that's the next spot. Most of us have gotten this because we got a little out of shape during the pandemic. Well, guess what, man? I did too. I'm a personal trainer, and I have, through some health issues and some things, have gained almost 50 extra pounds. So there will be an additional video at my site that we're going to go through this together. Start at 10 minutes a day, then a 15, and then a 20 to 30, up until we can get to an hour a day. Then we're going to work in some of the other workouts. I invite you to see that too. Thank you so much for listening. I hope these pro tips were good for you. If they were, please click down in the comments that says this review was helpful. Thanks a lot. I am Dan. I am your tech guy. Good to be with you today.